Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great session. We have Dr. Reosti with us today. She has presented for us before, and her presentations are always amazing. So you are here and you get to hear another one. So welcome, and you can go through the YouTube channel and try to find her other ones, which are great. So today, Dr. Brenda Reosti was born in West Africa, Nigeria, where she earned a Bachelor's of Arts in English Education. Since immigrating to the United States in 2008, she has worked in early childhood education. Her first job in the US was working as a classroom aide at a daycare center in Baltimore City. However, she has served as a director since 2012, first in Baltimore, and since 2016 at her licensed in-home child care service in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which I'm sure her children that she is watching and teaching love her. Dr. Reosti has a master's degree from Aragosy University and a doctoral degree in organizational leadership with a specialization in curriculum instruction from the University of Phoenix. In addition to opening a small business, she mentors doctoral students. She coaches aspiring daycare providers, as well as teaches professional development classes to other ECE professionals, kind of like she's doing here. She's published 3 children's books, which are amazing. One is called Puddle Hunting in My Neighborhood. The second one is A Walk to the Fence. And the third one is A Dance at the Pond. So don't forget to look those up as you are either listening today or after the presentation. So Dr. Reosti, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes. Next slide, please.
Too many.
Okay, so this is a disclaimer that an online degree from UAGC does not lead to immediate teacher licensure in any state. So if you were to get your degree here, you will have to go back to your individual state where you're living or where you want to teach and make sure that you follow their steps before becoming a teacher. Next slide. This disclaimer says that UAGC provides links to other websites and institutions, but is not responsible for anything that is in this presentation today. So Dr. Reosti, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so while I was researching this topic and getting ready for this presentation, I was looking for a quote that just absolutely describes play-based learning. And then I found this by Brockhampton, and it just talks about how children still need a childhood with dirt, mud, puddles, trees, sticks, and tadpoles. And this is how I grew up. I know that I had a very lucky childhood. I was lucky to play with dirt and mud and clay, right there in my neighborhood. So I really love this quote. And if you are ever in doubt of what play-based learning is, just come back here and look at this beautiful quote. Okay, so play-based learning is essentially to learn while at play. So when children are playing, they are learning. You're right there helping them with learning. For instance, there's a picture. This image was an image of my student in one of my children in my classroom, and she's playing with Play-Doh. This is an opportunity for you as an adult or as a learner to talk about all kinds of stuff: texture, color, shapes, people, animals, all kinds of letters and numbers, all kinds of great stuff. So while the child is playing, they are learning as well. Okay, so some play-based learning philosophies. You probably have heard of these: Montessori, you've heard of Waldorf, Reggio Emilia, forest schools, and co-ops. For the Montessori educator, they are usually focused on play-based, not entirely play-based. Montessori is not entirely play-based, but it has some aspects of play-based learning, and focused on the child, learning life skills, all kinds of great stuff, cooking and folding and washing and holding glasses, all kinds of great stuff that Montessori has. And then we know about the Waldorf kind of learning or philosophy. And Waldorf has emphasis on the head, the hand, and the heart of a child. And they also emphasize nature, the child learning in nature. We have Reggio Emilia kind of philosophy, which is play-based as well, where the child is central to their own learning. So it's child-based, it's child-focused, and it's also play-based. And we have the forest schools, where the children are right there in nature, learning in forests or grasslands, and all kinds of natural environments, where they're in control of what they are learning. But then there's the adult supervision, to make sure they don't get hurt or something else happen to them. And then there's the co-ops kind of learning, which is kind of focused on nature and peer learning. These different philosophies, you can talk about them for days and hours on end, and still not have time to talk about them. So I just wanted to touch on them little by little here, so you can just get an idea of what you're talking about. For me personally, I do not have any one of these as my philosophies at my daycare. Instead, I take aspects from each and every one of these philosophies and use them. But you can always choose to do what's good for you. Okay, so types of play, and I saw this on Smith and Pellegrini, 2008. Locomotor is a kind of play that the child is just moving, and I have a picture of our baby here. He's 6 months old, and this is the stage where he's just all over the place. He's rolling. He's not yet crawling, but he's rolling. His hands are always out. His legs are moving, But also, you can also talk about locomotor in terms of sports. When a child is playing ball, when they're running, they are moving. Object play is when a child plays with an object. And it could be any object, it could be a toy, could be a box, could be anything. Social play is when children interact with each other in a social setting. Language play is when they use language. And one example that comes to mind here is, for instance, at nap time at my daycare, when they're supposed to be quiet, the children are having, they're whispering and having conversations with themselves from one cot to the next. They are not moving, they are not kicking the ball, they are just talking. So pretend play is like fantasy play. Most times we have dramatic centers in our daycares, many of you do, and that's where the kids get to pretend to be firemen, they pretend to be princesses, fairies, all kinds of fantasy stuff. Okay, so strategies for more play. Now, there's scaffolding, learning centers, thematic units, art, music, open-ended toys, outdoor exploration. So let's talk about scaffolding. I did see a definition on NACI, and NACI says scaffolding is how adults support children's development and learning by offering just the right help at just the right time in just the right way, So when children are playing, because I do, you can, if you look back at my introduction to this webinar, I always get asked, how do I include play, and still ensure that my kids are learning and are ready for kindergarten? And I just tell them, let them play, and then you scaffold, you're right there with them. So if they cannot do a certain thing, you're helping them, like tying their shoes, you're showing them how to pour, you're communicating with them, you're using open-ended sentences and using new words. You are right there as a facilitator of learning. while the child is leaving. So these are characteristics of scaffolding by Hardy et al. 2021. Scaffolding is adaptable to any situation at all. It is very supportive of the child's learning. It is reassuring, telling the child, I'm right here. If you need help, you can go ahead and do it yourself, but I'm right here if you need help, and I can show you what next to do. It is diagnostic because while you're scaffolding, while you're right there with the child, while you're talking to the child and using questions and helping the child physically, you diagnose what they lack, what they need, and then you know how to help them through those milestones. So scaffolding is amazing. It's just, it's mind-blowing how many things, how much you can help the children when you scaffold. So learning centers, Clevenger and AP Pfeiffer 2021 named these: dramatic play, books, blocks, sandbox, and grassy areas in their, in their publication. But we probably have different ones. Like I have science center at the daycare, I have library. We have all kinds of. We have mud kitchen. These learning centers are important because they help the children. They are playing and still learning different things as they go from one center to the next. Now, sometimes I have some centers open, sometimes I have them closed. Sometimes we create centers indoors, and sometimes we have them outdoors, like the sandbox and grassy areas. For sandbox, I do not personally have one, at my playground, but I do have sand, which I take out when the kids are ready to play and then bring it back in, and grassy areas and blocks where they are learning all kinds of mathematical skills and learning critical thinking, how to arrange the blocks so they can stay, all kinds of books, and then dramatic play, which can take them to different parts of the world while they are still right there in your classroom. Okay, so thematic units. I don't know, I've seen a couple of posts on social media lately, and everybody, most of them are saying, don't use themes when when you're doing play-based learning, let the children just play and all of that. But I have to tell you that even while the children are playing, learning has to be planned because you're preparing the preschooler for kindergarten. You can't just let them roam and play and not teach them what they need to know when they get to kindergarten. So that's where thematic units come in. They are very important. They are like breaking your lessons into different themes that will help the child learn all aspects of life, So thematic units, they enhances the student's interest. For instance, I have a child here who really, really likes trucks. So when we do our theme on trucks, it's like he's in a different world entirely. He loves trucks, so that's his favorite theme. But then he gets to experience other themes in other areas, and other children get to experience theirs as well, So thematic units improves engagement. If you teach a child something that he's passionate about, he's definitely going to be invested in it, it connects learning to real life. So I'm going to give you an example. Last summer, Jeff Bezos went to space, and when he went to space, I think with 2 or 3 other people, it was all over the news, and Charles Bronson as well. That was all over the news in the summer. So I was like, if this is all over the news and parents are probably talking about it, let's just bring our space theme now and do it again. I have the space theme for the summer anyway, but it wasn't in July when that space trip happened. So we brought the space theme to the current time to match with what's going on in real life. And the children made their own rockets. They traveled to space. We had a box. We designed our own rockets. It was just a box. And then we went in there one by one with our space hats. And then we were like 1, 2, 3, blast off. And then we went to the moon. And, we had all kinds of fun while we were learning about the earth and the sun and the moon and the planets. We were still playing and enjoying it, and also relating it with real life experiences. So thematic unit also integrates all content areas. It could be social studies for instance, we do, all kinds of social studies topics, like this on your screen is St. Patrick's Day. So the children are learning about the society and holidays and all kinds of great stuff. So science, we have the living thing theme, we have float and sink, we have all kinds of great science stuff. So thematic units are very, very beneficial if you're doing a play-based curriculum for your preschoolers. Okay, art. So art is another major aspect of, it's another major strategy that will help you incorporate play into learning in a preschool classroom. For instance, we did that art that you see, just cut out some sunflowers, created some leaves, and we did those graphs, and I let the children glue it to their paper. And while they're gluing, we're talking about plants, we're talking about the roots, and we did all kinds of stuff. We went outside, we looked at the plants, we looked at the leaves, so they are learning, and as well as using their hands, they are getting, creative. Art fosters social-emotional development. It improves self-confidence. If you look at that art, I didn't do it. I only cut the parts for the children. So when they glued it and they looked at it, they were proud of their art. They loved it. And when their parents picked them up, they're like, "Oh, man, mommy, look what I did today. This is a plant, and it has flowers and leaves." So it improves their self-confidence. They believe that they can really do things. It enhances cognition. So while we're doing the art, we're learning the parts of a tree and how trees grow and develop and all that kind of great stuff. And it improves self-awareness. So while they're doing that art, the child is learning about themselves, what they like, what they don't like, and all that kind of stuff. So it also enhances creativity of the child. Music. So this picture you see is part of my, is one of the pages in my book. I actually think is probably also the front cover. And it's the book called A Dance to the Pond. And that's what we do, because my books are based on our preschool experiences in our neighborhood. So we take the instruments in a drum. There's this drum and instruments in it, and we take it to the pond. Luckily for us, there's a pond in our neighborhood that's not even a mile away. So we take it there, and sometimes we're lucky to see the ducks, and then we feed the ducks and we play music, we have fun, and nobody is telling, I'm not telling the children the kind of tune to play. I'm not telling them what instrument to play. They pick their own instruments. And if they don't want to participate, it's okay, So music, according to Barrett et al. 2021, fosters independence. Like I said, they pick their own instruments, or they don't pick their own instrument. They do what they want to do. They can sing, they can do anything. They can just walk around and feed the dogs. They can sit down. It's okay. It encourages creativity. So they are creating their own beats. They're creating their own sounds, while they are doing this activity. It encourages movement. This is probably my favorite. because they are moving. We know that there's a big problem with obesity in America, actually the world, you know, and a movement is one thing, one very, what's that word I'm gonna say? One very effective way of preventing obesity. So these children are moving, they walk to the pond all by themselves, they walk back from the pond all by themselves, you know. So they are moving and they are dancing as well. So it improves temperament. If all else fails, just play music, you know. It's the children are dancing, they forget, especially if it's music that they like. And in my classroom, I just don't play kids music in quotes, you know. I also play nice, clean music like Elvis, some of Elvis's music. The Carpenters have great music. There's Perry Como. My goodness, all kinds of beautiful music we play in classrooms. So the children are exposed to diverse experiences in terms of music. It enhances social emotional development as well. Okay, so open-ended toys. Now, Delham 2021 called these objects of unstructured play, and they are open-ended toys, you know? So we have loose parts and boxes and baskets and balls and fabric and dolls. These are open-ended toys are toys that are not opposite of open-ended is closed. They are not closed. There are no designated ways that the children have to play with those toys. They can play with them in all kinds of ways. You know, it's open to their imagination. That's why it's open-ended. So loose parts are an amazing, way to encourage the children to play and be imaginative and also learn, because loose parts could be tops, they could be balls, they could be, parts of a puzzle. They could be all kinds of, they could be rocks, they could be feathers, just little parts that there is no designated way of playing with them. They can imagine and, create with them. And I do have a video on my YouTube channel about loose parts. So if you want to check that out, that would be nice. I don't want to go too much in details in all of this because I have like 30 minutes. Okay, so boxes. I was telling you when we did the space theme, the children used a box as a rocket, to go to the moon. They sometimes we use the box as a box trampoline. We cannot have a trampoline at daycare. So I always get, every now and then I get a big box and I open it up and put it in the backyard and the children can jump on it. A little bounce, not as much as a trampoline, but it's fun. They can write on boxes with chalk. They can decorate, they can design, they can do all kinds of stuff. They are learning and yet they are playing and having fun. Baskets. I've seen a lot of activities on social media, on search engines, where children use baskets for all kinds of great stuff. They can use them to learn how to put laundry away. They can use them as movie seats, moviegoer seats. So you really decorate. You don't even need to decorate them. Just put the baskets out, and they can sit and eat popcorn and watch a movie, or just give it to them, and they can play with it. Sometimes when we go to the pool in the summer, we take baskets with us. So when the children try to fill them up with water, they learn that baskets cannot keep water. It's just gonna leak out. And then you ask why, because there are holes in it, So you can use these for learning in all kinds of ways and let the children explore them how they want to explore them. Balls are amazing. They are very affordable. They're all over the place, They use them for everything. They could use them for cooking. They could have them as vegetables or or beans or all kinds of stuff, So balls are very good open-ended toys. And I know there are also water beads that end up being little balls, and the children just go to work with them and play with them. And you're talking about colors. That's my son, and I have these balls around him. He's 6 months old, and we're talking about, oh, here's the orange ball and the yellow ball, and the ball is is round, and he's not really there with the object play yet, where he can take the object and play with it and explore it on his own. So I'm helping him, and he's learning. When he gets to object play, he'll know what to do. Fabric, all kinds of fabrics, different colors and shapes and sizes can help the children learn. In the summer, we take fabric out, and I put like soap in water and let the children go to work with the toys in the bag, and they help clean them. We do like a car wash. They clean cars, they clean toys. They're having fun. Sometimes they bring it in. They fold them in different ways. They wipe the walls. They do whatever they like. Fabric, and you're right there, scaffolding, helping them learn. Asking open-ended questions and ensuring that they are linking real life to learning situations in the classroom. Dolls are amazing. They use them for all kinds of play, dramatic play. Dolls can be students in the classroom. They can be babies who need to go to the doctor. They can be babies who are sick or hungry, or they need their diapers changed. The children know what to do with these. If you give it to them, they know what to do with it. So open-ended toys are very, very important in bringing play, more play, encouraging more play in your classroom. So outdoor exploration, and I have that picture there, and it's a picture of my my driveway. Okay, so I always bring out chalk and let the children play and do whatever they like. But this is planned learning right here, and I have taps, and I draw. Sometimes it could be letters, it could be numbers, and I draw them, and I let them trace those numbers or letters with the tops. And they're outdoors. They love it. They love the environment. They love that they're outside. They are moving. They are learning. They are not. Some of them are not writing yet, but they are learning how to trace the shape of numbers and letters and shapes. So outdoor exploration also helps with science concepts. We have a theme, and it's living things. So sometimes we go out. I have like a graph, picture graph. So we have all kinds of stuff there, and there are plants and birds and trees, all kinds of living things on the graph. And while we're walking, we're looking for these things on the graph. And then when we find them, they have their little crayons or pencils, and they just mark it. Sometimes they're like, I can't draw that mark. I'm like, just mark it however you like. You don't have to draw an X or a Nike sign. No, just mark it. Let's know we've seen it. So they're walking around the neighborhood like little scientists, and it's amazing. Movement, they're moving while they're outdoor, and that's amazing for the child. Critical thinking skills, like I said, when we do the science, some of our science lessons outside, the children are learning not just science. So it could even be social studies, could be a Halloween walk, for instance, where we're looking for Halloween things in the neighborhood, and we're talking about what we see decorated around us, or Christmas. During Christmas, we do the same thing. We do like a Christmas light walk, and we talk about the lights, and it's amazing. And that also brings us to stimulation of senses. So these children, they're outdoor. The wind, like today, when we went out to play, the wind was amazing. The weather was so good today. It wasn't too cold, but it was windy. And that wind hitting you on your face, what else is better than that? So they are experiencing the wind in its natural form, not like a fan inside. They're outside, they're experiencing the wind. They are seeing the leaves are swaying due to the influence of the wind. and they see the sun and they can feel the sun on their skin and the heat of the sun. So, or the snow. I mean, outdoor exploration is amazing. Do not deny your preschoolers of outdoor play. It's amazing. Improved focus. Yes, outdoor exploration also helps the preschooler with improved focus, you know, like I told you, with the science concepts, when we go outside, we're looking for birds. So they are focused and they are looking for birds, you know. They may be distracted occasionally. That's their nature. But when they see a bird go by, oh, I see a bird, you know. So it helps with focus as well. Okay, so in conclusion, play is free or inexpensive. That's a light that we got from Amazon. You know, I was looking for something that will attract him while he's trying to, you know, learn to crawl and move his body and use his body for movement from one place to the next. And I found that light. It doesn't show on this picture, but it has different colors and it glitters and glows. It's just amazing. And it encourages him to move forward, you know, to learn to move towards the toy that's in front of him. And sometimes he tries to take it and chew on it, but you know, we're right there watching him. So play is developmentally appropriate. Yeah. So I remember one parent wanted to enroll their children at daycare, and she said, I have a 3-year-old. And I said, yeah, how did you find me? She said, I found you on Facebook. I said, did you look at my page? What do you think about my service? She said, I just saw all the kids playing. You know, I didn't see them doing any learning. And I told her, I said, they were learning. You know, if you saw them touching water and manipulating water, they were learning about what's wet and cold, you know, and whatever they're doing that looks like it's just play, it's learning, and it is developmentally appropriate. A 3-year-old should still be playing. You can't just try to pump all the learning into their heads, you know, they need to still play. That's how a childhood should be, a childhood of play with all kinds of natural elements. So she did not enroll her child at my daycare because in her mind, sometimes you cannot convince people, but she probably will find out at some point that play is what a 3-year-old should be doing, you know, even if they are learning and getting ready for kindergarten. So play-based learning, play is very effective for learning. It is, because if play is a child's nature, and if play is developmentally appropriate, then it's suffice to say is the best way you can teach them, you know? So, and like I said, if a child or anyone at that is interested in something, they will be invested in finding out about that thing. So if it takes play to teach them how to, numbers and letters and prepare them for kindergarten, why not? And even you, the teacher, is enjoying yourself as well, you know? Play is engaging. As they're playing, they are engaged because it's natural to them. It's something that they're born with, something that they should grow with, you know, as preschoolers and as children. So these are great qualities of play. And I hope that I have somehow been able to convince you today that you can play in your classroom as well as teach, in quotes, you know, not teach as in academic, but, you know, play-based learning and prepare the children for kindergarten. And if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on YouTube, Little Ruby's Daycare Encounters. I can help you with daycare, startups, professional development. If you need more help incorporating play into your specific classroom environment, you can reach out to me. I have an Instagram page as well. And you can also find my books, Puddle Hunting in My Neighborhood, A Walk to the Fence, A Dance at the Pond. All of these If you read them, they are all they are real life, true experiences of our daycare here in Virginia. And these are the references. And then because this is not like a traditional webinar, you can always reach out to me whenever, on Instagram, and ask me any question about this webinar or about preschool generally. And I'm always willing and open to answer your questions. So thank you. Thank you.
As always, Dr. Reosti, amazing information. And it's just a really good reminder for us to follow our gut and let kids play. And you have these different types of things in your classroom. And I tell my students all the time, document what they're doing. Put down how they are covering the skills that are given to you. You can document that, send that to your administrators, send it to your families, because it is what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So you have been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and we will have you back.
All right, of course, I'll be ready.
Thank you, Dr. Reosti.
Thank you.